Yo, okay, hold on. Let me plug this in. Do I have my? Where did I put my headphones?
That is a very good question.
It's probably on the bed. Headphones. Yeah. All right.
Ooh. So you were asking about apps and stuff.
Yeah, because we always meet people who want to build an app. I'm telling you, we always meet people who want to build an app, right?
Okay.
But they're kind of in this catch-22 where they don't necessarily have enough money for the software maintenance part of software creation, right? And for the most part, what they don't need is a fully functioning app. They just need something for a bit of theater, if that makes sense. Oh, check. Yep.
Hello.
Plug this in.
Did he lose his mic?
Get him there.
I can't hear you. You're far. Let me hear. Check.
All right, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um, where's the mute button?
Oh, wow. The sky is pink.
Hmm.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so I'll welcome you to the Python 101 course once more. And
Hmm. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Did he rug it?
Maybe. It's like fuck Python. Um. Hmm.
I got a call. I just assumed that the name of the room was because he rugged it. Because by the time I got back, the room was gone.
Damn it, Casey. No worries. I'm just looking at this Python right now.
Ooh. This is your first time using Scrimba?
Yeah.
What do you think so far? No, it's only been like 2 minutes, but
Yeah, I'm going through it right now. I'm at the end, I think, of the second lesson right now.
Sweet.
Front end career path. What is happening now?
Hi there, this is Pear from Scrimpa. I just want to take a quick.
No, just give me the thing.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay. Oh, that's a commercial. Okay. Print statement.
Okay, welcome. It's time to get started.
No,
I hope you're
stay
as
on
excited
mute.
as
All right.
Ooh. So you
So
think
let's see.
people trying to? Oh, hello, E. Rich. Thanks for hosting us the other day. And before I got cut off from this Twitter space, there was a mention of people who are trying to start an app but don't have the resources or something like that. What were you saying? Or is your head in
Yeah.
Python and you forgot?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to speak on E's behalf, but like, I know there's software objectives that she wants to accomplish.
That is
She
true.
actually has, yeah.
Really? Well, if it's not top secret and you feel like talking about it, space is not recorded. I'm all ears as I continue my cleaning up after cooking. I made some wicked banana pancakes and waffles and some eggs. But sorry for making you feel hungry, but you know, it's just fun. It's just
Well, so I'm dropping off a binder. Like I was at Office Depot earlier, and now I'm dropping off a binder for my paralegal who is taking the longest time to come down the stairs before I go buy breakfast for myself.
see if you were in Nova Scotia, you could come for breakfast and we could talk about whatever your software idea was. Another reason to come to Canada. Although I might advise to come in the summer, but if you're into winter stuff, maybe. And Dan Rockwell's in the house. How you doing?
Just blazing through this this course. All right. What's next?
because they start many you have in stock. So that's your job. So create 3 variables and choose the right data type for it.
Mm-hmm. So you start a space and then you jump on a Python code. That's some
No.
multitasking.
Of course. Item name, widget. All right, so we're just declaring variables.
Michael, are you teaching yourself Python?
Not right now. I'm creating the course though.
Oh,
10
cool.
10 API projects for the absolute beginner. So right now I
Right.
have the speech to text working, and I got a satellite positioning system one to work. So I'm just working on the others,
Nice.
and I'm doing it all through Google Colab, so people can. I like Colab because the instructions are in the same place
Yeah.
as the code.
Did Sandra pick it up yesterday, Python? Looks like she was learning from Ahmed or something.
Yeah, so I ran her through the first lesson of the speech to text.
Cool.
And I converted a Twitter space recording.
Nice.
So what I did is I created Twitter space and I recorded a minute of me saying, "Congratulations, you've just learned how to use an API to convert speech." Right?
Right.
So that's the example, right? So I showed her that. She got that to work. And then I gave her a basic example in just commands. Right. So this is,
Cool, man.
X equals 1, Y equals 2. Add them up together. See what you get. Print hello world. Right. So I figured, if she can learn it, I think anyone can learn it.
It's true.
You know. And then I tried with Matios. He did it on his phone. So what I want to do is make all of the tutorials mobile phone friendly. Because I think a lot of people are actually coding on their phones and nobody has any idea. Like, especially overseas, their computer is their phone.
Yeah,
I met there was a 16-year-old JavaScript and React programmer in Nigeria, and he does all his work on his Android phone without a keyboard.
Crazy, right? Without a keyboard. What are we talking about? Yo, when I met Ghanaians, I learned what you could really do with your phone.
Because I've got 3 keyboards for my phone. One that's in my car, one that's in my house, and one that's always in whatever bag I'm taking me wherever I'm going. Because I type faster with the keyboard than anything else. And it's less obnoxious than carrying around a laptop. So Dan Rockwell, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm pretending like I'm the host or something. Since someone's
no, that's all right, man.
someone's in a Springbrook Python class at the moment.
Nice. You're in Nova Scotia, I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you at?
I'm in Ohio, so I'm about as close as I can get to it, probably.
Cool. Yes, Ohio. That's where Columbus is, and Rex. Is it Reston or Rexton?
Wexner. Yep. Yeah, we got Wexner here. We got pedophiles. We got the capital of human trafficking. You decide it. Columbus has got it all.
Cool. There's something else that Columbus is famous for that a lot of people don't know. It's either famous or infamous, depending on which way you look at it.
I don't know. I just got a lot of tech people coming to town because Intel's coming to town. Big chip plants going in, and it's and we're probably one of the top 10 places to go and work. Here in the Midwest.
One of the oldest and largest multi-level marketing organizations in the world that actually started in Ohio.
I believe that. It's not nationwide. It sounds like a nationwide insurance company.
No. The 3 or 4 families that started the Amway Corporation.
Oh yeah.
One of them is in Ohio. I think it's I forget their name now. But yeah, they run Markerman Productions or something.
Yeah, we also had the basket long burger basket company was here for a long time. We got a building that looks like a giant wicker basket somewhere downtown, and then.
So what's in the water in Ohio that's causing all this greatness to happen in one place?
Well, it's not really greatness. It's
Ness.
It's just over time I think Ohio did make a lot of smart moves when it comes to tech. They did a lot of tech investing, and they lured a lot, definitely health technology companies, up to Cleveland Clinic, and now down in Columbus with the Wexner Center being a big research center for cancer. There's a lot of medical, and then there's a ton of insurance. And insurance is a nice safety, kind of safe business. It didn't really get disrupted until it was too late. So now it's getting disrupted left and right. So there's a lot of new sort of insurance startups around. There's nothing really in the water. It's just people applying money where money's needed. It's known to be a test city. So there's a lot of people launch a brand, or if they launch their franchise, they'll try to start one in Ohio just to see what almost like the mid-range. You got a good mix of people here, tend to be affluent, tend to have more money at least. It's different. It's no longer just like Midwest down home. It's not that. It's a little bit of that, and it's more of what is sort of like a new Silicon Valley kind of lifestyle where people are eating out a lot. They have a lot of liquid cash. what are they spending it on? What can we observe and learn from? So there's a lot of that in Ohio too, especially Columbus. Cincinnati's known more for pharmaceuticals, Procter and Gamble, big hub down there. Bigger connection to Lexington and Kentucky through the bourbon kind of angle of things. GE is a big innovator down in Lexington. Cincinnati's mostly known for Procter and Gamble. Consumer, sometimes consumer to consumer kind of brands, but like you're not going to see like a TikTok take off in Ohio. It just doesn't have that kind of investors. It has much more conservative investors down here, where they want to not only see that you have sold or have 1,000 customers waiting, but just like overwhelmingly obvious that you have cash or can't make it kind of things before you get investment. Not a whole lot of risk takers in that regard. Spend a little bit of time in this space actually, so that's why I know it a little bit.
Cool. I gotta head. I'm gonna check it out sometime.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool incentives. Of course, Canada is, it's the place to be. It's where it all happens.
Yes. On some level, I'm looking forward to when things get settled in West Africa, because that's where I'd rather be. The weather's better. No winter. And usually tax is usually pretty good too. And you folks who are all into Web3, which I'm slowly getting into.
Not really. Not doing Web3 yet.
That's going crazy in Nigeria. Well, it's going crazy all over Africa anyway. Partially because of hyperinflation. So Dan, what do you do when you're not doing your part-time promotions for Ohio?
Yeah. No, I do software development. I have a software development company, and I help people make software.
Any particular niche?
Yeah, we kind of do it all. I mean, I don't know if there's any particular niche. We know a lot about healthcare, know a lot about logistics, but we kind of do everything. We do apps, mobile apps, iOS, Android, desktop, website, whole shebang.
Anything with GraphQL?
Yeah, I'm sure I got teams that are doing that, but I'm kind of on the sales end of things, so I just need to know enough about what you're trying to build or what you're trying to do in order to cross the gap. I don't jump into the technology selection as much, and the choice of technology, unless the client asks for it or the dev team will get into that. But I kind of far away from that. At least I don't dictate it that much.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a business that is a constant, but I do think that no code tools and AI and just different architects. People that want to architect differently can take a big bite out of the space and really rearrange it. So I kind of like to follow that trend a little bit versus just pimping the same old thing. You get tired of can't pimp the same old ride over and over. You got to realize your ride might be changing, and you got to keep up with it. But other than that, yeah.
Cool beans. So how did you get into that? Or have you always been in it?
How did I get into it? I kind of fell into it. I've always basically I got started working for a marketing research company that kept on doing projects where they had to take notes, take data from conversations, and they always wanted to do that in a better way or in a different way, in a richer way, or easier documentation way or a faster way. So I just kind of spent a lot of time in that space, observing a lot of people getting pissed off, and then knowing the technology that was on the other side to sort of close that gap. So that's where I got started, and I actually built kind of like the first thing I built was sort of like a Qualtrics. If you're familiar with Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey or Typeform, I kind of built one of those things to get started, and that was pretty cool. We did a lot of really cool collaging. The company was known for a lot of experiential sort of research and design with companies, and they got a lot of big companies to give them a ton of money to walk through people's minds on what they would ideally want from something. And to do that, you had to do that more than just open-ended, qualitative questions. You had to sort of basically build new research methods. So we built sort of almost a photo and audio and stimulus set related method of doing it. It's almost like it's like doing a survey or an interview, but using a ton of stimulus that's like sitting around you, so you can have a much richer conversation about things. But coding all that stimulus and getting it into the computer and then getting it so that you could analyze the data in an efficient way. That's where I kind of came in and helped with that. And that was fun. I built a lot of my first products and prototypes, built a really cool tool for focus groups to take notes in focus groups. That was a fun one. And it was just sort of an obsession around efficient tools. And then that turned into, people asking for more stuff and saying, hey, can you build something for me? So then I was like, yeah, all right, I can do that. And then just one thing led to another. And I went to a startup weekend. If you're familiar with that event where you had to build a startup in a weekend. And I went to this startup weekend event and didn't know soul. And I pitched an idea for doing concept on top of Amazon Mechanical Turk. This is 2008. And couldn't really code back then. You had a lot of people that talked a big game, but no one really coded. Definitely iPhone just had come out. No one knew actually how to code for it. Anyways, I won 50 grand on that weekend, and that was kind of crazy. And that kind of started the mythology that around me a little bit. Guy comes out of nowhere, wins 50 grand in a weekend, doesn't actually build the product, only does the research to validate it, proves out the business model, shows that there's definitely a demand for that, starts a company, raises 300 grand, gets bullied by local investors who are mostly assholes, gets pissed off that everyone tells them that they can develop it, but everybody wants to get paid 100 grand to make it, decides to go to Russia and make it there. Kind of. That's sort of that. So I didn't go to Russia. I went to we went everywhere. We went Sri Lanka. We went China, trying to find someone who would build a prototype. We did eventually find some guy in Ukraine, and he was really good. And then the business started, and it snowballed. And then I just got known for basically meeting with people and being a super connector and helping. Okay, you got to meet this person. Do a ton of that, and then I do a ton of kind of remix people's ideas a little bit before they start it. Like, okay, that's a cool approach. That approach doesn't give us a lot of fuel. This approach would give you more fuel. Investors will probably think this way, but we got to find another way to get under their skin, that kind of thing. It's like everyone should have a little AI in their project right now, regardless if you're really truly using it. Just put the fucking thing in there because you're going to need it for an investor. The whole game of getting investment and working investors, that's a whole another separate game than just building and prototyping your initial business concept. Getting traction and yada yada yada. I don't know. It's a business I have a love-hate relationship with. But yeah, I know it.
Dan spoke for 5 minutes straight. It was amazing. He was in the flow. He could feel the universe flowing through him and coming out in verbiage. What's up, Dan? How you doing, buddy?
Hey Casey, thanks for denoting my.
You like that?
No, that was good. I
I miss
appreciate that.
listening to you ramble on Spaces, man. You got good ramble.
Yeah, well,
Some people got shit ramble. You
I
got
got
good ramble.
You
yeah.
give good ramble, man.
Thank you.
That's the words.
Thanks.
Right
I like to
there.
give good ramble. I still have a project for you. I need to send you a video on.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a spatial project. I just need to borrow your brain to think out some spatialness. So
sure.
I'm actually like sketching out a concept on paper and walking through it like storyboard wise, and then I'd send you that video and you would watch it and be like, "Yeah, dude, this is totally easy. I could do this and this," or you'd go like, "Dude, you're fucking nuts. Never DM me again." Right?
Unlikely. I might come back to you and say it's not there. Your idea is nice, but the technology
Right,
is not.
exactly.
It's not. I don't. Maybe I don't know how to do this. But
See that, and that's where I continue to learn. So I always have to learn the latest. That's why I like it the Fringe so much, because the people on the Fringe are just building shit for no particular reason. They get to learn all the fun tools
Dude.
before the market actually arrives, and then the market arrives, and then some bloke like me will ask, somebody like Casey, like, "Hey, can you move that pixel to the left? I'll pay you like $100," and he'll be like, "Dude, I don't do anything for less than 400. Okay." You know what I mean? He gets to be a real asshole and like storms out of the room or something like that. So, it's all
your
right.
extrapolation imagination is on par, my friend. So what's interesting about one of the things interesting about this is you're familiar with like IBC, interblockchain communication, right? Like different. Anyways, Mike turned me on to an idea, and I don't even know if he knows it. He's seeking to create an environment on Roblox. Okay, cool, right on. He's working on a spatial. Okay, there are ways to save your entire environment and download it on multiple metaverses. So I could say my environment is compatible with Roblox, spatial, other side, etc., etc., etc. And now you've got a similar view across multiple platforms. That to me seems like hot potatoes right there, or hot coffee. I think that's good. You know what I mean? That makes sense? Am I just talking to the wind here? It's possible.
No,
The
you're not.
wind. I got a
I
lot.
was multitasking in another chat window, so I did want to just admit that my total attention span on Casey here was probably only at maybe 30%.
See, that's why I know I have to consolidate my shit. So one environment,
Well, you stop.
multiple platforms.
So, Casey, describe what you're doing for Ali, because I think if you tell him what you're doing for Ali from scratch, he'll understand where this is going.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
that's where this kind of came from. Because when you started helping Ellie, then I knew that you were, a mercenary. Like that's when I knew, and there was like a percentage involved. I'm like, whoa.
Which I want to for the record state that I tried to avoid. I had to be talked into that one, just for the record.
So tell them about the negotiation. It was my funnest negotiation ever.
Hey, we were thinking, what do you think about this percent? And I'm like, hey, how about we just help each other? Because I need some video help. Let's just do that. And we'll just hook each other up with some skill sets and rock
Oh
and
yeah,
roll.
that's probably better. Percents never really work out. And then like later on, people like talk shit about you, but they do it in the percent way. So like,
So you didn't hear the end of the story, though. Keep going, Casey.
So I'm like, yeah, let's do it that way. And they're like, yeah, that's really nice. How about, no, you take a percentage. And I'm like, well, 3%. They're like, yeah, 10% sounds good. Yeah, 10% sounds good. I was inversely upsold, basically.
Huh.
That is the opposite of how negotiations are supposed to work.
Yes, it was
say
totally
that as an
backwards.
attorney.
It
So
was
it's
beautiful.
with authority.
Yeah.
But if you consider that most projects fail, maybe they fail at the negotiation stage and we don't even know it.
Well, the nice thing about when things fail and you have a percentage of it, you can wallow about that percentage a lot. Like you can go to a lot of different bars and places and be just upset about it. People are like, what's wrong? You're like, dude, I had a percent of something and it's not here anymore. So you can just all You can even have it virtually in your hands. That percent, what I mean? It can forever be stained upon your face.
But the thing is, it's only stained upon a smart contract if it's an NFT, right? Because it's all built in the smart contract.
Well, that's even better. You had the ultra green Martin Luther King statue, holding a leprechaun. And at the time it was great, but man, that stuff didn't age well. Went through all kinds of controversy, and how it's yours. That's your percent.
And on that note, E-Rich has her hand up, and I have a little list of things to talk about when she's done.
Okay, so I was just wondering, are you getting a percentage of sales of Mocha's work?
We didn't actually define that, so I don't know if it's theoretically a percentage of the sales of the environment or the book story, which I would not expect, but we never really talked about it, to be honest.
Okay, well, as an attorney, I recommend that you do that. That is all.
Because I guess, if we parallel to what's already existing, it's usually like an artist and an author and an illustrator usually team up, right?
Well, at the same
is
time,
that
keep in mind that the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to do things, and neither does Allie. So, if it extended to the book, great, because I'd rather have a percentage of something than 100% of zero.
Yes, that's fair. So can you also do this for Peter? I feel like he really needs a push.
Well, the thing is, what Peter doesn't have yet is a narrative. He has images, right? And what KC pointed out was that he enjoys Allie's art because there's a narrative that goes along with the image, right? And so I want to test this idea out with this spatial idea where we have 100 images with a narrative and a through line. And you can choose to linearly go through one by one by one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you could just open roam the platform. And I think if we can prove this out, the other thing we want to do is create a book. And I might just say, hey, Casey, for 10%, you want to just do the book? Right? I don't know. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's a combination of cash and incentives. But the idea is that, as a recruiter, I know that compensation is an incentive mechanism. That's all it is, right? And so if you can align the outcomes with the incentives, then you still might fail, but at least, people are swimming in the right direction without you having to tell them what to do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool, but what I like to try to use is a superior notion of tone to allow KC to sort of swim in that well of understanding, but yet still be a little confused by me, just enough so that the intimidation of do this fucking shit for me, please, can come through with enough ease so that he can pick up on it without questioning too much of it. And I don't want to lose control of this fucking monkey. I don't know where the fuck he lives. So it's just important to keep all those parameters in play. Obviously, if it's a female like E-Rich, we had to do a lot more complementary kind of things involved to stay and play and not get sued because she's a lawyer type. So there's a lot of different things to watch on that, and that's just incorrectly thinking out loud in an expressive light while using a semi-broadcaster voice. I think those are all things that are allowed by the mechanism to express degen thoughts, especially now that we're in a Musk era of enlightenment. There's new rules, and therefore, that's just it.
So, Casey, where are you with it right now? I know you created the whole environment and it got wiped away in the blink of an eye, and we don't know why.
I thought that I understood why. So what happened was I dumped 5 hours into building this environment, and it was coming along really well. And then all of a sudden, I started getting environment won't load. So I was working off of Allie's account, basically, or in her environment, and I did all the work in there, and it like poof, just wouldn't load. Everything was screwy. I waited. I tried multiple things. I tried to reset. Couldn't get it to work. Went back to mine. Reconstructed what I'd already done, and then advanced it off of my account, and then re-uploaded it to Ali's as a more finished product. I'm like, haha, all right, I got this. And then they both failed, and they were both wiped off the map. And so I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do that again. So I have made her space a mega structure. It is pushing the limits of the capabilities of the platform. Like, it's so large that it maxes out the visual range that your avatar can actually see and will kind of black the screen out. And I have it set just at the edge of that limit. And that limit is also very close to the actual boundaries of the platform capabilities for size. So going across a mushroom might take like 4 to 7 teleports at the longest distance you can teleport. Like, you're not just walking around. You're gonna have to move. It is a distance to cover.
Yeah, it's
And
like Super Mario World for N64,
but like
basically.
way bigger.
Yeah.
So um I shrunk it by just a little bit, and then talking with some of the guys at Spatial, I actually jacked up the resolution, the frame rates to 1:1.
Oh.
And I don't know why this is kind of working. I don't know if it's like forcing the software to work harder, the machines to work harder, so it's drawing more attention and capturing the environment better. That's like, I'm taking wild guesses here because I don't know. But I have the route like 20% complete right now for the
Oh,
outer
shit.
ring.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Or you can
Yeah.
send anyone. I don't mind.
Yeah. No. It's all good. So I right now I'm just getting the route set to follow that you technically should be walking in, and then I got to go back in. It's kind of fun. Like, I feel like a graffiti artist because all I'm doing is looking at structures for the biggest flat space to put a frame on to display the art. But it also has to be far enough away from where we're going to put the audio, because the audio has a certain distance that it projects to, and we don't want the audio to overlap. So the art has to be at least a minimum distance apart from each other, so that you go from Allie's voice telling you the story, and then it fades off as you follow the path, and then pretty quick it starts to come back in again. And that's how you're experiencing page after page of the story. And you can stand there and look at artwork that's displayed. If it were real life, it'd be like a 10-story building that is the size of the artwork. And as you follow that path, you're being read to and looking at the art and getting the story. There's big giant fish swimming. There's juggling octopuses and dancing lemons. And I'm using these Venus flytraps uh, made super big to block off certain parts of the map to keep the flow going, to herd the people in the right direction. And then it's just basically going to be like a swirl pattern that leads you to the center of the map, where that will be the end of the story. There, that's a pretty full breakdown, I think.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Oh, sorry. I also. Did you make your way in yet, or no?
Oh, you sent me something?
No, I didn't know if you were able to see it, because you're following me on Spatial, and I think that allows you to see all my spaces.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
1 sec.
Sorry,
Let me open
but
up,
I am also sending this to you right now. Apologies.
Spatial login
Coming at you, buddy.
MetaMask.
Next. There we go. Sorry.
All right. Forgot my password. Remember the password.
Oh man, what do you do for password security and retention?
Oh, I do like a super duper complicated thing. It seems simple, but it's not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I talked to Dr. Wetzel, the security guy, and
Yeah.
I asked him, "How do you do yours?" He's like, "I reset my password every time." I'm like, "What?
What?
You reset your password every time?" He's like, "Yeah, I just get a new one emailed to me." I'm like, "Well, I could see how that would be secure." Yeah.
I
Well,
kind of, but I feel like maybe not so much. Wait.
think about it.
Well, on its face, I like the idea. It's
I can't find
constantly
your space.
rotating.
You sent me the link.
I did.
Okay, one sec. All right.
Because isn't the interaction of your email kind of like an attack vector there?
It is.
And so if you're constantly resetting your password and using that to recapture, like you're kind of opening up a couple steps there, that because part of the two-factor authentication attack
Yes. I mean,
is right.
like technically, if somebody gets your email, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
if your account is set up to authenticate with your email and your phone.
Yeah, if it's two-factor, right?
Two factors. Sorry,
No,
like three times.
that would technically be like 3.
There you
Because you
go.
might have a login on the site, and then you got your email, and then you got your phone. But email is highly insecure because most emails sent unencrypted.
Yeah.
So someone can grab it in between and click on the link if that's how you did it. Yeah.
Very terrifying. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't talked to you before, Afo. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Nice.
Is this the same Casey that rugged us? Or is this a different Casey?
Yes. No, there's only one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I rug a lot.
Sorry. It's been known to happen. Yeah, that was a kind of a deep space too when I first came in.
Yeah, it goes that way sometimes.
What? So where are you based? Are you also in Ohio?
No. I'm on the East Coast. I'm up in New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire. Sweet.
Yep. Yeah, buddy. But I'm from Alaska originally, so.
Oh, okay.
Is
So
does that instantiate the existence of a middle-aged New Hampshire?
Middle-aged New Hampshire?
Yeah, like how you have New Hampshire, you could have Old Hampshire, midlife crisis Hampshire.
I mean, kind of.
Huh?
Kind of. Hey, did you spawn right here?
Yeah, I'm inside.
Yeah, I see you. But that's interesting because you're not supposed to spawn there.
Oh
Very
no,
interesting.
I didn't spawn there. I
Well,
just
because it looks like there's a waypoint right here.
just going through this space.
Did you spawn at like the very corner of the
Jesus
map?
Christ, Casey. What did you do to this place? It's fucking nuts.
you
What the
lovely
fuck
people,
is this?
I'm gonna have to bounce soon. Since
Yeah.
up
Be
since
well.
today, and
Have
I
a good
gotta
one.
finish my GraphQL project. But yeah, I will have a good
Nice.
one. And Casey,
You know, when you come back, I'm going to be a Python expert because of Scrimba. That's right, Scrimba.com. Are you interested in learning Python? And have you failed every time? Well, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to learn it. Maybe you just don't have what it takes to be a software developer. I don't know. But if you want to test your mind again, Scrimba.com. Thanks, Ifo.
you're welcome. You know what? I just got a bunch of messages from people in Nigeria because people were talking about how horrible Java and hard JavaScript is to learn. And so I piped in
We,
and said, maybe you, I don't know why people think JavaScript is so hard. Maybe because I came from C
we,
and Java. But
what we have to do is combine
I
our
said,
forces.
I told them,
You're
check
gonna
out Scrimber. And then it came back.
let's combine our forces. I'll be the recruiter, so you can't get dumber than me, and you'll be the software developer, right? And so I'll convert your commands into commands that are readable by the general public.
Whose commands? Mine?
Yes,
Okay.
because I find that there's a difference between I find that people who are software developers,
Mm-hmm.
um, they sometimes have a challenge with interfacing with the general public
Oh, yes.
when it comes to teaching software.
Yes, I hear you. I am.
And so, and most of the stuff, what I do as a recruiter is I know enough technology to make me dangerous, right?
Mhm.
Which allows me to identify or try to identify the difference between someone who knows Python who's somebody who doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to like minimum viable toss myself into the environment, right? So I can get around. And I'm interested in this concept of what is the first lesson? Like right now, most lessons in Python, the first lesson is a math lesson. X equals this, Y equals this, the modulus, the exponent, right? And I think
Yeah.
that that initial math focus, it can, you know what I
That,
mean?
that's problematic
Right? And
because a
so
lot of people have nightmares about math.
yeah, right? They do. You're not wrong about that. They do have nightmares about math.
So,
I
so
know.
what's the thesis then, Mikey? That we should do a non-math version of programming?
Yeah, to
There,
start.
there's lots
To
of them.
start.
There's a few of them, but we could. There's Scratch. Have you heard of Scratch?
Yes, very much so. Actually, have written a Scratch compiler.
Oh, nice. Nice. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, I need to catch up with a few people.
You know, I was thinking, uh, just to give an. I think that if we are going to do, let's say, a thing around programming that has to do no maths or less maths, it may be better to go HTML JavaScript route, because the main idea when you're trying to teach programming to anybody or software engineering to anybody, well, software engineering is a separate thing, but just to get somebody familiar with programming is having this instant feedback. And the nice thing about Scratch, as Efo mentioned, which is basically Lego blocks version of programming, so you don't even have to type code. But typing code shouldn't be so bad. But the idea is that you have pre-built blocks that you can just drag and then fill things in. You get instant feedback, right? So if I move my yeah, so JavaScript could be interesting from that perspective. The trouble with that, the downside of that is that um, it hides a lot of the underlying concepts, not complexity, but the core concepts. And what's happening in the market right now is that it's filled with people who specialize in a programming language, but not necessarily being able to take that any like it's hyper specialized and but not at a very deep level. So you will find a lot of web developers. You will find a lot of Python programmers, but not someone who can take those concepts and build out a complete solution to a problem, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I find that like
That makes perfect sense.
my initial thrust with this is I just want someone to get used to commands. I don't necessarily want to teach them programming. I just want to get them in the environment, right? Accomplishing tasks.
Right, but you've got to give. It's okay to and this is where this is where the balancing act comes, right? Because you can't really get the way programming works as it is today, right? I mean, we could come up with a completely different way of programming in a completely different environment, but that's a very heavy lift. The way programming works today, you have to have it is okay to require basic understanding of some maths, like grade 5 maths, right? It's not grade 8 maths, it's just literally grade 5 maths, or where you understand that you can put things in boxes and then boxes come together, etc. Like that level of maths. Did you like like and I think that striking that balance is where value is. As
So what I want to do with the first 10 lessons is just get them in the environment having fun.
okay, that's
And,
fair.
right? Yeah, just like as a start, right? I just want to get them in because most of the challenges I find when I talk to people is they can't even get the environment set up on their local machine.
Oh yeah, that's a whole lesson. You know,
Yeah.
it's very stupid. If you look at my YouTube channel, I don't have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, right? There's one video from like years ago now that explained how to install one thing on an older version of a IDE called PyCharm. That has
Uh-huh.
the most views. It has the most fucking views,
Yeah, just setting up the environment.
right? And
Right?
it's not
Yeah.
even setting up the environment. It was like literally one configuration in one fucking dialog box,
Right. Yeah.
right? And it has now what, over 10,000, 12,000 views, something stupid. And people, like, I have likes on it and comments. Thank you so much. Like, I got one in 2022. Thank you so much for this. I'm like, this is fucking, 8 years old. It's like, what? You shouldn't even be using PyCharm. Like, but the point is, you're absolutely right. Setting those tools up is a difficult thing, which is, which is something that I really love about, like, Rust changed my world that way. Rust is a very heavy lift as a programming language in the beginning. It's a fucking difficult language. But if someone is completely blank and I was to teach them a programming language for a month, I would say fucking learn Rust. And because you can do everything from web to operating systems in it, like everything in it, and you would not have to go out of that ecosystem ever. But in the beginning, it's a heavy lift. And if you come with a pre-existing programming background, then it's a heavier lift because you have to unlearn a lot of bad habits that you've picked up. But I
I'm
understand, like,
sorry. Can you tell me why it's a heavy lift? Is it the raw amount, or is it the complexity? Why do you say it's such a heavy lift?
because, Rust is a heavy lift because it requires you it requires you to build a mental model of how a computer works, and then so for example, you have to understand the concept of RAM, and you have to understand like there's a few basic concepts. So what is a stack, what is RAM, what is a heap, why how data gets stored in memory, and so you run into that fairly quickly in Rust. as a sort of a basic requirement. You don't have to understand it completely, but you have to understand, okay, if I put something on stack versus if I put something on heap, you have to understand what functions are. You have to understand what structures are. You have to understand how, like, there are some basic concepts of how a program needs to flow in order to in order to get going with it. But that can be
So it's like
taught in
learning
about
C
4 or 5 days, right? And after that, you are then you have to understand, okay, how do I hunt for example, libraries that help me do something. So for example, if you want to write a web app, typically you want to pull in a web server. You have to understand, okay, how do I connect web URLs to my code? And when that code runs, eventually it hits my web server, and then it's going to run this piece of code. And then how do I process that? So you have to do like a bunch of work to get it to go there. Something that you could, for example, write in a Python program in about 10 lines of code. In Rust, that would be more like 20-25 lines of code, right? But you have to know what packages to pull in. I mean, you would have to know that for Python as well. You would have to know that for JavaScript as well, or right, if you were writing server-side Node.js, you would have to understand that. So um, so that's one thing. I think that if you're a blank slate programmer, if you've never done any programming and you learn Rust, it's a lot easier than if you were a experienced programmer and you ran into Rust, because Rust will make you do things a particular way. If you're teaching somebody new, they would think that that's the only way you do things. But if you're an experienced programmer and you run into Rust, you're like, fucking fuckery, why doesn't let me do the things the way I used to do them in C, or the way I used to do them in C++, or in JavaScript, or in Python? Because it requires a correctness in your approach that you're not used to in those forgiving environments.
So
Hopefully that answers your question.
yeah, no, that was great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to learning Rust.
I'm happy to help. I'm one of the. So if you look up Google Jane Lusby, Jane and Lusby.
Lusby. Okay.
Okay, and Jane Lusby maintain a wonderful list called Rust Mentors. Okay, on GitHub, and these are people who are willing to help you with Rust. You just email them, and I'm in that list. But Rust community is phenomenally supportive of anybody who wants to learn Rust. If you get on Discord and get on to the Rust channel, you'll find. If you don't know it, I can send you the URL. It's absolutely fucking fantastic. You can ask all sorts of questions over there. If you've done any type of programming, and if you want to have longevity in any type of software development, highly recommend learning Rust.
All right, looking at the online stuff right now. I'll reach out. Thank you.
But the nice thing about, by the way, Mikey, there is a online Rust playground as well, so you don't have to actually set that up.
Yeah, so right now I'm just putting together a bunch of Python quick starts. So if you don't know anything about programming, or what Python means, or what code is, or what a command is, here are 10 basic Google Colab notebooks that will allow you to accomplish something that might be exciting or useful to you, whether it's speech to text or image generation or all of those things.
Oh,
just to
very
get the
cool.
person's feet wet. Let's get them in the shallow end.
Sure. Do you have a GitHub repo for that?
Right now, these are saved on Google Colab, but I'm sure I could download the zip file and connect them to GitHub. Most of these things are getting pulled. Like the dependencies are happen with Google Colab, but a lot of the code is downloaded through what do they call it, like pip install or whatever to a
Yes.
GitHub. Yeah.
No, but the reason I was saying that you should put that up on GitHub is because, for example, I could contribute to that just
Oh,
by forking it and then submitting a pull request to you, so
yeah.
that you can update. And if we share it with other Python programmers, we could add to that content,
I like
add
that.
notes,
I
add
like that.
correct,
I
right?
like that
So
because even right now, like one of the open questions I have is using Assembly AI. So right now I can use Assembly AI to take an audio file on the web and convert it into text. As the bonus lesson, I want to show them the sentiment analysis, but I don't know how to take the transcription I get as an output and store that in a way, you know what I mean? Right? I just
yeah,
have the
I know
text.
what you mean. So, for example, if you put that up and you said, "Hey, this is something," you and I should have a separate conversation on how to set that up on GitHub, and then you could put open issues on GitHub, and then people would contribute to those open issues.
Yeah, the larger reason is now that I'm creating curriculum for these school boards in Toronto, we have about 4 or 5 different courses that we're building out. And I want to build out a lesson that a set of really, really, really shallow introductory lessons that people can use on their mobile phone.
Go ahead, Casey.
Sorry, it's totally off topic. I just need a quick check. Mike, on spatial, did it clean up a lot? Does it look a lot better?
Yeah. No, I love everything.
No. I don't mean the build. I mean the actual graphics. Things smooth out.
I would have to close everything I have open
All
because
right.
right now, even on this M2, it's a bit slow.
Okay.
Probably because I'm
Okay.
using fucking Google
If
Colab at the same time.
well, I jacked.
Yeah.
Okay. I jacked up all the settings. If you leave and come right back,
Okay.
it should be like really smooth and clear, and not much effort on your machine.
So, Ahmed, did you hear what Casey's doing with Ali's art?
No, what are you doing, Casey?
Mike got a environment from Sketchfab, and I uploaded it as a mega structure. So I like multiplied it in size by a factor of like 38, and then going through and placing a route in this huge map that's like a swirl pattern, and we're putting her artwork and storytelling along that route with audio, so that you can go in
Oh,
and
wow.
walk along the route and be told a story while looking at the art representing the story. And you can free range if you want to. You can start at the very end of the story if you wanted. It
I'm
should
putting
be,
the images at the top so you can get a feel. I'm not sure if you've seen these.
because it's the artwork that she's doing and the narrative that she keeps putting to it is such a natural type of storytelling that it's like it's just a very easy reach for how to present her artwork. So yeah, it's fun. It's
Oh, that is very interesting.
isn't
So,
it though?
and you're doing this on a tool called Sketchpad?
Oh no. Well, no, the environment is on spatial.io, SPATIAL, spatial.io. It's a free use Web3 environment. Um,
Yeah, I'm working in that environment, creating
Oh, very
the
cool.
experience. Yeah,
It's
and it's
basically the easiest way to get in the metaverse if you have a Gmail account or a MetaMask account. I haven't
yeah,
seen anything easier.
nope. And they got good stuff coming. They just incorporated all of Sketchfab as a separate platform where you can get 3D objects. A lot of them are for free. They got a bunch of stuff for sale, but there's also a lot of free assets in there. So I've just been taking from the freebies, and you know, and I can't help myself. I'm a fan of the mega blowing everything up. So like the little fishies that you can download for free to swim around, I got them like 100 or no 1,000 times bigger, swimming all through the environment.
Why are you putting so much resource constraints on people with poor computers? That's funny.
I mean, well, so here, and this is the interesting thing. So it started with my Halloween series where I have 3 different spatial rooms linked together, and you can go through and, scavenger hunt, blah, blah, whatever. But the spatial people went in there like, dude, you're like, all of it's running so smooth. Like when you start off in my Halloween, I have a ring of mirrors, and they're like, "This is incredible that this is working so easy because when you use the mirror, it actually recreates the environment on that mirror. It's a recreation. You just can't access it." And so they're like, "This is amazing that you've got all this stuff, and it's like rendering so quick. There's no issues. It's all smooth." And the theory that they gave me was that because I'm using all the more basic objects, I'm just making them big, that's really assisting in the rendering. Because I'm not really using anything that's that complex or heavy
Makes
on the
sense.
code, right?
That makes sense. Okay.
And that's the going theory, anyways. I don't know. I'm just in here having fun, really.
Okay. So, oh, Mike, we were talking about course development, right? At some point in
Mm-hmm,
time,
mm-hmm.
we should combine some of the thoughts that I've had with you. Um, that's okay.
Yeah,
Like,
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work through completing these 10 lessons, right? And then I'm testing them out with like different people. So even with Matthios and I will get on WhatsApp and I'll send him the Google Colab and he'll run the stuff and I'll work with him over the phone, right? Or it won't and I'll have to, figure out why. And so right now I'm just testing it out with childlike adults. Right? And if it works for them, then when we iron out all the bugs, maybe I create some videos that we place into the Google Colab environment. So all the tutorial resources are in the same place. I want to present the 10 lessons to the school board after I do the prototyping and,
be right back.
yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
learn math. Everyone hates math.
It's so funny too, because like Tom Ed's point, some of the math is very, very basic.
Well, I mean, if I can, how do I have you use Python with just understanding what an equal sign is?
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. I just want to get you into the pool.
I like
And
your approach. I like your approach.
if I start with math, you're gonna quit.
You know what it makes me think of? Honestly, I'm such a dork, but it makes me think of the RC stuff.
Hmm. How would you start someone on the RC side? Would you teach them
By
about electrical circuits?
no, yeah, no, not at all.
Why?
I
If you don't know electrical circuits, you won't understand the nuances of what's
all
happening in the machine.
yeah, all I want is to grab their gear, do a quick tune on it so that it'll at least be drivable, and get them to have some fun on the racetrack so they come back. That is the only goal.
But so why wouldn't you start off with explaining to them math if math is at the core of everything they're doing?
Well, we kind
Aren't
of
you doing?
you
Aren't you doing
incorporate
them a
it.
disservice?
You incorporate it. You incorporate it along with the tune-up, right? So you're like, hey, let me check your car real quick. I noticed it turns not very good to the left and really sharp to the right. Let's take a look.
Mm.
You know, where, well, yeah, I guess I don't really know. I know you don't know. It's okay. I do. It's okay. Come on over here. You got
Mm-hmm.
what's called a tweak issue. Tweak, yeah, it's your balance is all off and your springs are improperly loaded.
Hey,
So
fucking tweaker.
yeah, you got a tweaked out car. So we're gonna fix the
Mhm.
tweak. See how this spring is all the way down on the front left and on the back right, it's all the way up. Like that's not good. All right. So yeah, you gotta drop the knowledge while getting them up and running. So they can go from hearing you and watching you and make adjustments to, holy shit, it drives in a straight line. This is great.
Amazing. So I just figured out the second lesson for the Python. It runs so smoothly in the Colab notebook. You don't have to download anything. If you can find the play button and press play, you can get it working. And if you want to do it,
Yeah.
modify the script so it works on the file you want, just change the URL of the file. Congratulations. You're now done your second lesson in Python, or your third
Nice.
lesson, right? I
I
don't want
like
to teach
I like
you
how
no math.
you're breaking down the actual micro actions
Mm-hmm.
geared towards how does it go? Make it do something.
Make it do something. Yeah.
Yes. That's
Yeah. I
good.
don't want to
That's
be
good.
I don't want to have to become a mechanic to go to the corner store. I just want to
Yes.
go to the corner store.
Yeah.
Can you help me go to the corner store?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Das ist gut.
But again, I could be wrong.
One way to find out, as long as you're
Only
open to
one way to
being
find out.
like,
Only one way to find out.
if you're the type of person who's happy when you're proven wrong, just so that you know, you're gonna go places. Right or
100%.
wrong, I just want to know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said 100%.
So, like, I was gonna say, like, even EFO, like, even with Scrimba, right? The paradigm of teaching in terms of sequence of lessons is still the same, which is learn this math first. And I'm probably gonna have to wait, at least 5 lessons to actually do something with the code, right?
Can you show the action of what it does and then just like superimpose the math on the screen? See this math? It does this. Here's where you put the maths in.
this is where the little short videos or GIFs could be useful.
All right. I am off to go collect the kids and do the family thing. I'll be back later on.
Awesome.
Be well.
Cool.
You see what I'm saying, Yufa, right? The paradigm is I'm going to teach you math and operations first. And I don't think that's where people want to start.
Yeah. See, I'm one of those strange people who actually like math.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only a small population that can code on the planet.
No,
right?
no. I think it's just the problem. There are multiple problems in the tech industry. It hasn't been conscious about trying to make things as accessible. Back in the day, it was all about, oh, you need to, deep dive into computer science and learn all this stuff before you even know how to say hello.
And I'm
world.
not even saying that's bad. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's
Yeah.
it's important, but not necessary, because it all depends on what you're doing. Some people are it's like you look at the way a lot of the big fan companies require people to do data structures and algorithms, even if the job you're applying to may not use data structures or algorithm. To me, that makes no sense. Like if you're a
Huh?
mechanic and you're applying for a position to change tires, why do you need to test me on engines? Like that shit don't make any sense to me. Eventually, you might want to do something with engines, but really, I think people should be tested for something that's related to what
Like,
they're going to do. But
I was taught that because your math center is beside your emotion center, anytime you get a math problem wrong, you're going to feel emotional about it. Yeah. And nobody teaches you that that's what you have to push through. Because a lot of people tell you that you can't, there are only certain people that can do math. So when students come up against a problem and then feel feelings, they're like, oh, I guess I'm not the person that can do math. And they back down.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was such a thing as only some people who could do math, because I grew up in West Africa and Nigeria.
Oh, yeah, exactly, right? You
And
weren't
when I
told
went
that.
to school, we were not taught that there was people that couldn't do math. So everybody did math.
And that's the crazy thing, right? Like, I did my graduate paper when I was in teachers college on like the attitudes towards math. And it's so true. In the countries where they don't tell you that there are certain people that can do math, they say everybody does math. Well, you just figure it out.
That's because they also hit you if you don't get the answer.
Well, that too. So, but you know, the way that you frame it completely changes your relationship with math. Like, I think I became a math teacher because my parents told me that math was a game when I was a kid. So I'd play times tables with my mommy. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, there was no fear.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I think your relationship with that whole emotional center, if you're not told that math can be conquered, then you're not going to think that you can do it. And then if most of Python is taught through the math center, a lot of people are going to be turned off just because North America, you're taught only certain people can do math.
True.
Good. Well, I'm going to bear out this hypothesis. And the other thing, too, is I don't necessarily need to teach them all of Python. I think if I just was good at getting people started, that would be the best part of the problem to solve.
Exactly.
Because I guarantee you that if someone finished these 10 lessons, or even 2 of them, they would go on YouTube University and type in how to solve my problem in Google Python Colab Notebook. Right? I know that they'll take this and run with it.
Cool.
Like, I just use this Python model to generate a depth perception.
By the way, did you see the video I posted up in your Jumbotron here?
Let me see.
That's the project that I'm working on right now. Creating resources to help people get into tech by providing basically like not a database, but it's more of like the old Yahoo spaces, the old Yahoo directory kind of thing. So I created a directory of resources.
That's awesome.
Because people keep asking me for these things, and I keep sending it to them, and I have an extensive bookmark, so I figure I might as well put that out there. Then we'll have like a GitHub link, and we'll have a whole bunch of stuff so we can crowdsource it, and people can also start adding their stuff. And we'll also have people to vet it, so that way we'll make sure that we're sending out solid stuff, not just, you know.
So I'm just going to post this quick thing to the top. So,
I already posted it to the top if you're talking about mine.
Okay.
And who is D2KXB?
Oh, that's a Python developer.
And there was somebody else who was talking about their love of math. Was that D2KXB or was that someone else?
Oh, that might have been my wife.
Ah, that could explain why I was wondering where the voice.
Yeah, you're wondering where that voice is coming from.
Yeah. See, there's a bug in the Twitter app on my phone. So sometimes it will just have just one person, a random person will be the one who the little graphics that you have that indicates who's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sometimes it does that on my phone where it just picks one person in the room and that's it for the rest of the space. So So I can still hear everybody is speaking. I just don't know who is actually talking, except if I know the people in the room.
So, I'm gonna post
Yes.
another. I don't see your video yet. Maybe you can repost it.
It's the first. It's the first thing in your jumbotron. It's like all the. If you look up in your space, it's right there.
I'm not
It's a.
seeing it. Maybe
It's a last thing.
it didn't populate for me yet. Oh,
Oh,
okay, here we go. So EDS project collab 14.
that is it.
Oh, nice. It's clean. I like the interface.
Yeah, we have wicked designers in California. Young student. So there's four of us. So we have a program manager, a designer, and two.
Yeah, the designer knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post this to the top. So I just went to the PyTorch hub that has a bunch of Python projects, and I posted this Python quick start so you can get image depth map generation.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna build a bunch of these, but the idea is that you don't have to know any math to get started.
Exactly. By the way, have you seen Bukola the dev? She's I forgot what she studied in university, but it had nothing to do with computer science. And then she went into a boot camp and started learning some stuff, and now she works with Google and I think DevRel. But she's got a nice YouTube channel and TikToks, and she just like breaks down how to learn, how to get into tech, and also how to just how she got started programming, and she just does little things that just make it more approachable for people who might be a little scared of things like math and all that other kind of stuff. So I think you might like her material. She also wrote something in Python to, I forget what it was, but it was like some notification from her boyfriend or whatever. But basically, it's I think whenever Drake says something, she gets a message. But so she just does weird things like that, and something to send her Spotify list to, or a YouTube playlist, I think, to Spotify or vice versa. Hmm. Python Quick Start. Nice. I will check that out. Okay, it is 12:45, which means it's officially 28 or 29 hours that I've been up, so I think I should go get some rest. But I can't just go with awesome people just popping into the space, so I have to say hello to the person who we've given an adopted name of Janake, which is the West Africanized version of their name. But they're listeners, so hey, it's all good. I don't know if they hear me or not. Boom. But I need to go sleep. So you take care. Oh, they're laughing. All right, cool. That was delayed response. Um, so I'll catch all you beautiful people later. Try to Try not to be too scared today. And if you're in, I think it's in Chicago. Is it in Chicago that banned trick or treating because they have too many cockroaches? So I hope whatever, you guys all be safe and cockroach free this Halloween. Peace out. And thanks for holding this space.
No, thanks for coming by.
Anytime. All right. Take care. Enjoy Screambar and whatever else you're doing to get your Python game done. And if you get stuck, holler at me or Ahmed or all the number of people that you got. So you got it covered. Peace out. Bye.
Take it easy.